Picture this. There's a piece of land on Earth that literally no country wants. Not because it's dangerous, not because it's cursed, but because claiming it would cost them something far more valuable. This is Bir Tawil, a 2,000 square kilometer patch of desert between Egypt and Sudan. And it's the only place on Earth that's genuinely nobody's land. To understand why, we need to go back to 1899, when the British Empire was busy drawing lines across Africa. The Anglo-Egyptian Condominium Agreement established the border between Egypt and Sudan along the 22nd parallel north, a nice, clean, straight line across the desert. But 3 years later, the British realized they had a problem. The Ababda tribe, who lived north of this line, had been grazing their animals in an area called the Halaib Triangle, which was technically in Sudan. So, in 1902, they created a new administrative boundary that gave Egypt control of the Halaib Triangle. But there was a catch. South of the 22nd parallel, there was another piece of land called Bir Tawil that was inhabited by people with stronger ties to Egypt. The administrative boundary put Bir Tawil under Sudanese control. So now there were two different boundaries, the 1899 political boundary and the 1902 administrative boundary, and they created a geographic puzzle that would persist for over a century. When Sudan gained independence in 1956, both countries had to choose which boundary to recognize. Egypt chose the 1902 administrative boundary, giving them the valuable Halaib Triangle. Sudan chose the 1899 political boundary, which also gave them claim to the Halaib Triangle. But here's the catch that makes this so fascinating. If Egypt claims Bir Tawil under the 1899 boundary, they'd have to give up their claim to the much more valuable Halaib Triangle. If Sudan claims Bir Tawil under the 1902 boundary, they'd also have to give up their claim to Halaib. The Halaib Triangle is about 10 times larger than Bir Tawil. It has access to the Red Sea with potential for fishing, tourism, and trade. Plus, there are rumors of mineral wealth and oil deposits. Bir Tawil, on the other hand, is just empty desert. No oil, no minerals, no strategic value whatsoever. So both countries are perfectly happy to let the other have it. This creates what geographers call a terra nullius, land belonging to no one. But the situation gets even weirder when you consider the people who actually live there. There are a few Bedouin families who call Bir Tawil home. They have no official nationality, no government services, no protection under international law. They're literally stateless people living in stateless land. Over the years, several people have tried to claim Bir Tawil for themselves. In 2014, an American man named Jeremiah Heaton planted a flag there and declared it the Kingdom of North Sudan. He wanted to make his daughter a real princess. But under international law, his claim has no validity whatsoever. You can't just claim unclaimed land and expect the world to recognize your sovereignty. Several other micronation enthusiasts have made similar attempts. But they're all tourists playing at being kings in a land that exists in legal limbo. The reality is that Bir Tawil represents a fascinating flaw in our modern system of nation-states. We assume every piece of land on Earth belongs to someone. But colonial mapmakers created contradictions that persist to this day. Egypt effectively controls the Halaib Triangle despite Sudan's claims. There are Egyptian police stations, Egyptian schools, and people carry Egyptian identification cards. Meanwhile, neither country bothers with Bir Tawil at all. It's too remote and worthless to justify the administrative expense. This creates a strange situation where the residents exist outside any legal framework. They can't get official documents, access government services, or even technically commit crimes, because there's no law enforcement authority with jurisdiction. For geographers and international law experts, Bir Tawil is endlessly fascinating. It's proof that even in our hyper-connected, satellite-mapped world, there are still blank spaces on the political map. Places where the neat lines drawn by colonial administrators don't quite add up. But for the few people who actually live there, it's just home. A home that happens to exist in one of the most unusual political situations on Earth. The Halaib Triangle remains contested, with both countries maintaining their claims. But Bir Tawil will likely remain nobody's land for the foreseeable future. Because sometimes, in international relations, it's more valuable to want something than to actually have it. And sometimes the lines we draw on maps create problems that outlast the empires that drew them. Bir Tawil stands as proof that in our modern world, there are still places where nobody's in charge. And maybe that's not entirely a bad thing.